They say live in the moment, but when it comes to your financial well-being, planning for the future and thinking ahead is wisest. Joining us with ways to get our financial houses in order for retirement is David Monckton, a certified planner with Carolina's Wealth Management. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
October, it's National Financial Planning Month. This is what you do day in and day out. You breathe it, you eat it, you live it. But a lot of people don't understand how important it is to plan ahead.
Sure. And it's the most important thing. You know, a lot of us will spend a little bit of time a year planning out the vacation or even the route to get to our kids' new schools. What people fail to do a lot of times is really plan for the biggest items in our lives, whether it's a new house or the ultimate goal for most of us is retirement. And the biggest thing to do is figure out what your goals are, quantify those goals, prioritize those goals, and then have a plan to get there. If we don't really know what we want to accomplish in the future, then we're just kind of meddling around and not being as efficient as we can be to get to that point. So at Carolina's Wealth Management, we tell everybody, you know, let's set our goals, let's quantify them, let's prioritize them, and then let's have a plan to get us from here to where we want to be in the future.
Now you say give each dollar you have a job.
Right.
But it doesn't mean to spend every dollar you have.
That's correct. That's correct. And we see a lot of people that at the end of the month, they don't know where the money went. And, you know, there's a national financial advisor fellow named Dave Ramsey, and he really gets deep into it. And he'll even have his clients put the budgeted money for each outflow in an envelope every month, and then when they run out, they can't spend any more on those items. I'm not saying to get to that point, but people need to
strict.
It is, but you know, the hardest thing for people to do is to save for the future. And if they're spending everything every week, every month that goes by, and they're not paying themselves first, which is what we've got to do. In order to reach our goals, we got to pay ourselves first. We got to pay the car payment and the mortgage. We've got to pay the things we've got to pay, but if we don't include ourselves in that list, it's really difficult to enjoy the future as we always envision it'll be.
And what do you think is the first step to getting to that place? Because it all is about the first step, and that's often the scary one, because and a lot of people don't know what they don't know, and kind of how to get the whole new I guess approach towards their money.
And like I said, you know, before, it's having a goal. It's number one, realizing, hey, there's a place I want to be in the future. I'm now at a point where whatever I've done to this point, I've done. Now I've got to figure out where exactly I want to be, have a goal, put a plan in place to give me the best chance to reach that goal, and have a written financial plan. You know, don't just think I want to retire at 65 and live sort of like this. Specifically know when you want to retire and what that's going to look like. Have a written plan, because then every year you can go back and reevaluate. We know the market's going to be different every year. There's going to be unforeseen events. We've got retired clients who are having to take care of parents or even grandchildren. So we've got to plan for the unknown, but we've got to make sure that our original plan and what we want to accomplish, we've got a roadmap to get us there.
Absolutely. Let's talk about taxes, because yes, taxes, they happen in April. You know, if you put it off, they happen in October. But you don't realize that you do need to sometimes set aside money to make sure that your taxes are covered.
Absolutely. And from our standpoint with financial planning, when we think about taxes, it's the biggest expense anyone's ever going to have associated with their investment portfolios. And we're in a situation now where who knows what they're going to do in Washington over the next couple months, but we're likely going to spend more money. We have a deficit already. We owe $30 trillion as a country, and it's growing. The big thing we try to impart upon people when you're looking at your financial plan is, if we're saving all of our money in 401ks and IRAs, we know that in the future we're going to have to pay taxes when we pull that money out. Well, if taxes are going to be higher in the future than they are today, we got to have a plan for that.
That's true.
So, but we still tell people the best place to save for the future is your company-sponsored retirement plan, because number one, you save in taxes today, and typically they give you something on top of what you put in. You certainly want to take advantage of that, but another aspect of investing or option is something called a Roth IRA. A lot of people don't consider that early enough, but with a Roth IRA, you put money in after tax, which isn't a benefit, but the real benefit, it grows tax-free, And then in the future in retirement, you spend it tax-free or your heirs do. Mm-hmm. Again, we want to have asset allocation, our stocks, our bonds, our CDs, just as important as tax allocation. We don't want to be in a position in the future where higher taxes are going to impact that retirement we envision for ourselves.
Absolutely. And people like to quantify things about how much of your salary should you save,
right,
should you set aside for retirement, would you say?
You know, I tell people as much as you can put aside.
Right.
Yeah, as
minimum.
much. Minimum, 5 or 10%
okay.
at bare minimum.
All right.
And the hardest thing for most people is to start.
Sure.
Once people start putting money away and they get their statement every quarter and they're seeing that it's starting to accrue, mm-hmm. it then puts some meat behind the plan that where you want to ultimately get to. So.
Absolutely.
As people get raises, or as we come into money from parents, or whatever the case may be, it's always the best idea, like I said before, pay ourselves first, because the more we put into our own financial well-being, the better our future is going to be.
Absolutely. David Monckton, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Carolina's Wealth Management. If you want more information, you know who to call. We'll be right back.